name's Scott Fromey and welcome to the Backwoodsman's Institute. Well, in this video we're going to cover the final stages of the salt curing of the hams. If you've watched previous videos of salt curing hams and bacons, well, we did the bacons and now we're going to do the final stages of the hams. The ham's been in there for a couple months. They took the cure of salt cure, and what I already did was I washed the hams, all the salt off the hams, and put them back in the smokehouse and let them dry, completely dry, and then I smoked them. I started putting smoke to them, and there really is no set like so many hours of smoke and all this. That's all part of the artwork of salt curing hams. What I do go is by the color of the ham. It's kind of like a golden color. Let me get one out. Okay, you can kind of see that the ham is kind of a golden color to it, and you can kind of see how the hocks, I use hooks, kind of everything's kind of brought down into it. You can see the bones in there. Everything's kind of got a good smell to it, so well, they're pretty well done. These are ready to be cut up or let hang, however you want to do it. So this, like I said, this is the last stage of it. The weather is warming up, and the one thing that you got to worry about is the bugs. You've been mindful of the rodents and stuff and taking care of that all winter long in here, but now when the temperature starts rising, it's the bugs that you got to worry about. In particular, what they call the skippers. The skippers, they're like a little bitty black fly. I mean, they're so little that they can go through a regular screen door, and they get on the hams and they lay their eggs, and the larva burrows in there. They call them skippers, and it eats up the ham. So that's what you got to worry about as far as the ham. Now, a lot of guys, and I do it, I cut up the hams, I take it to the butcher shop, and I have him cut it up. It's not just for a few hams, it's not worth the trouble of me getting the meat saw out and cutting it myself. I can, but it's just a lot easier just to go to the butcher shop. He's already got it, cut up a few hams in a couple minutes, and it's done. Now, I cut it up, and then I take the ham cuts and store them in my freezer. And I can put however many slices I want to package in a package and get out a meal whenever I'm ready for it. But for this ham, they say that, you know, the longer the ham sets or ages, the better tastes it get. And the optimal time, or when the time is when it gets its best flavor, is after it's a year old. Now, how are you going to keep it for a year? There's some tricks that they did, how they're going to keep the bugs off it. And the first thing they're going to do is, or what I'm going to do, because I'll probably cut up all the other hams but one, and I'm just going to keep the one, and then next year kind of do the same. So what I'm going to do is coat one of them with pepper. Now, how am I going to do that since it's dry is I got a little mister bottle, and I'm just going to mist it a little bit and then coat it with pepper and let it hang back up. And once it's dry, I'll check it again and see if I have to add any more pepper to it. The pepper kind of throws off the smell of it to the bugs. It doesn't do a complete job. There's other things we got to do to it after we pepper it. But for now, we got to get some pepper on it. So I'm going to mist this down with the spray bottle and coat it with pepper. A lot of guys you can put black pepper, red pepper, sage. All that kind of goes and adds flavor to the ham over time. So, you know, if you want to experiment and come up with your own recipe, or if you got a family recipe of ways they did it, you know, go with that. But I'm not going to mess with a whole elaborate type of fancy stuff. I'm just going to pepper it real good. So go ahead and get busy with that. Alright, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I got a pretty good coat of pepper on it right now. Alright, you can tell I got a pretty good coat of pepper on it. Like I said, the pepper's just to kind of deter the smell of the meat and keep the bugs off. Plus, it adds a little bit of flavor into the meat. What I'm going to do now is let it hang. And like I said, double check it. If I feel that I need to put some more pepper on it, I'll do it. A little bit of tip though, if you're going to put pepper on it, the finer the ground pepper that you use, the easier it is to put on. Because like I said, you're missing a little bit and then coating it. So the finer ground pepper works better. You can, like I said too, it's black pepper, red pepper, sage, whatever you want to put on there to kind of, you know, season the meat, you know, season the ham also. So, go ahead and hang this back up. The next step to, after you pepper the ham is, and let it dry, is I'm going to wrap it in the brown paper and seal it up very good and keep it in a cool, dry place that has a lot of ventilation. The ham will get mold on it. That's just the way it's supposed to be, and you can wash that off with some vinegar or something when you prepare it. If you're just going to hang it in a smokehouse, or you're going to use it, you know, years ago sometimes they took the whole ham out and soaked it in the big tub and washed everything off of there and then cooked the whole entire ham. Or if you're just going to take it and slice pieces of the chunks of it off to use throughout the year, one way of sealing that, like let's say you cut off a piece of meat, is take some lard and smear that area back shut again to kind of protect it, and then put a little bit more pepper on it. If you got meat hanging in a smokehouse during warm weather, like I said, you have to be tending it all the time, checking it daily. Where years ago, that's where they had the meat, they came in daily and got their meat. We in this modern society have a tendency to hang it in here and forget about it a few days. You could pay for that dearly later, like I said, if bugs get into it. So they watched the meat all the time. That was what they did. I hate to say it though, most of the farm wives, since they come in and they were cooking and stuff, they took care of the meat to that point. You know, they always tended to it and watched it because most of the time their eyes were on it. But like I said, if you're going to let it hang in the smokehouse and just let it hang, bugs, mostly skippers, the larva that gets in there, burrows in there, you can't hardly see it till you cut into it and the ham's ruined. So watch for that. Pepper helps, wrapping it, putting it somewhere that, you know, maybe a screening area, keep the other bugs out of it. But those little black flies that lay the skippers, you know, they're going to go through that screen. So hope you learned a little bit about salt curing hams and bacons. Catch you later.